But you could find, I mean, for instance, Ledbetter there in the back row found a cousin that she's in a very tight little group with Clan Randall on the one hand and Kinloch Moiter on the other.
I'm not one of them.
Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, your turn. Okay, let me say a few words about this. I've mentioned this at every meeting in the past, but I'll mention it here. This is the corresponding chart on smaller scale for the R1, the Summerlin R1A line. We have a few people who are R1A, but not related to Summerlin. But the vast majority, I should say, 14% of the persons who have tested, of the men who have tested with us, independent of their name, are descendants of Summerlin. 17% of the people who have tested with us and whose name is McDonald, McDaniel, Donaldson, something like that. 17% are descendants of Summerlin. You can't read the numbers here, it doesn't matter. Oh, he mentioned these letter designations, okay? You'll see a lot of them later when I blow it up. CLD. CLD stands for Clan Donald. So those are the ones that were discovered by me. And so,
well, and there's an important one. Isn't the branch of Clan Randall and Glengarry, doesn't it have a CLP number?
yeah, I'll show that.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to show you on big scale. This marker here is called CTS 4179. It was discovered by CTS is a Chris Tyler Smith. He's a Scottish researcher. And this is a whole bunch of snips that delineate a section of R1A. And this marker right here, YP276, that's this one right here, represents descendants of Summerlin. Okay. This one. All of these people from here to the right are all core Norse immigrants to Scotland.
And they show it 19.
There are a lot of Norse people over here that aren't that. And they're discriminated by either YP276, sorry, YP330, and either YP330 are having the marker 8 at DYS 459A. I know that's complicated, but anyway. But if you test with us, it'll automatically get put in that group. So,
and the shorthand for the Summerlin group or the Norse group is if you were YCA at 1921
and then 810 at DYS 459 or YP330. Incidentally, if I should say this, if you're a man and you've never tested DNA, if you want to find out if you're a descendant of Summerlin, you can find out for $16.75 by testing one of the YP markers at a different company, which is a good idea if you just care about that. And ask me, and I'll tell you how to so this marker here, okay, this one right here, represents descendants of Lord John. These people over here are descendants of Summerlin.
typically,
But not descendants of Lord John. And they would include McAllisters, McHeckerns, Wilsons, Perkins. We think those happened in North Carolina.
in terms of period of rule. So basically, the earlier ones would have been either Glencoe, because one of John's arrangements was that when he won, when his father won at the Battle of Stirling, he was given Glencoe as one of his subsidiary holdings. And that holding apparently died out by 1550. We're not sure precisely when, but that particular line. But we still have one person who has a history of believing that he was a Glencoe, that was a 15 at 458, is that right? 15, is that the, yeah, right, it was a 15 at 458. That's one of the long sets of numbers, not this set of numbers. But go ahead.
Yeah, so these two markers are markers for Lord John himself. Unfortunately, they are neither of the kind that he talked about. They're an entirely different kind of marker. And they can only be tested by tests that cost at least $500, either the big Y or an equivalent that's even more expensive. So there is, and I have searched diligently for testable SNPs that are equivalent, and there are none. And these can only be tested by testing a big Y or a
$19 special, right?
No, these can be tested only by a big Y or full genomes, which is $750. And sending the results to me. I'm the only one that can test them. But they are. I have a computer program. You can test too. It says yes or no. But anyway, so there's no single simple marker. But below that, we have a large group of markers that delineate particular groups. Here we have a marker called CLD18 or CLD, either CLD18 or CLD 49, I think it is. That's slate. And below that, which is definitely slate, we have paper trails that say this. Over here, CLD27, it means you're a descendant of, I don't remember exactly which one, I think it's the 8th of slate. Is that Castle Camus? And it includes Castle Camus. It includes Castle Camus and the chiefly line, including Sir Ian and Lord MacDonald and Allen Valley. This is Allen Valley. We don't have tests on the other two chiefs, but we don't. And then this is a group of people. Here we have one in the room, CLD 55, and we don't know exactly what group they are, but we don't know for 100% certain that they're slate, but they all have family traditions that are very strongly slate Scotty. We don't have paper trails. I'm sure they are because they match. Well, we know that they're closely related to the chiefly lines. Those two ones, and then.
Right. Then you've got another one here.
Yeah, I got to.
Here's Glengarry.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll over to.
Yeah, so that you can pick up this bar.
Yeah, I'm going to scroll over to the right-hand side. Okay. Then we have a marker here, which you can, again, once you test and find that you're right, this marker, unfortunately, again, cannot be tested for this marker.
You mean here? You're over the. There's
yeah. Again, there's this one. There's a marker CLD12, which you can test once you find out that you are a Somerset person. You should take a test from Family Tree DNA or the equivalent run from a company called ysequence.net. They cost about the same thing. Called the SMSZ254 email. SMSZ254.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No. There is a Z2. Oh, no, that's wrong. Z284, not 254. There is a 254. You want 284. But anyway, that tests all of these markers that say CLD here. And This one is the most common by far. People test positive for CLD12. We've had a lot of people take that test because it's only $116. And it turns out that about 80% of the people that have either slate, well, 80% of the people come positive for CLD12, which is a marker for either Glengarry or Clan Randall. Both the Glengarry, this is the Glengarry chief, that's the Clan Randall chief. And, but nobody, so a lot of people have tested positive for either Glengarry or Clan Randall. A large number have tested positive for CLD50, which is Clan Randall. Nobody has tested positive for any of these three markers, which is Glengarry. So we don't think there are very many Glengarrys. And
well, we know, well, they're up in Canada, and they haven't been tested.
Oh no, we have plenty of Canadian people that think they're Glengarry that they just haven't tested positive.
Okay.
They tested positive for either Glengarry. Clan Randall is negative for Clan Randall, but they haven't tested positive for Mr. Glengarry himself. So these could be recent markers. And then there are other people here that we just don't know what they are. They're one or the other. And then there's this one, which is, as I say, CLD50, which is Clan Randall. And not only that, people have tested, and then we have this group over here, which we think is Kinloch-Moidart, CLD51. And there are people test positive for that. It's odd, but we don't, it's not a large group, but we see plenty of them. And then there are these two people who nobody has tested similar for. We just don't know what they are.
Right, but they must be Clan Randall. They're early Clan Randalls.
Absolutely,
And
yes, yes. They are early Clan
We've got our back row.
So Doug, when you mentioned that two of the chiefs did not test, did you then get testing from those that were related to these two chiefs so that you could isolate those particular lines, or is that still a guess?
Yes. No, it's not a guess. Alan Valley and Alan Nigel Finlayson McDonald from Australia, and Alan Nigel Finlayson McDonald and Nigel Allen Finlayson McDonald from Australia are quite sure that they're in that line. But Alan Valley is perfectly good. I mean, Alan Valley, perfect paper trail. We just didn't bother with the chiefs. It's unnecessary.
Right.
Anyway, these are other groups. I'm in this group. We know nothing about us. That was the first marker found, I might add, in the Clan Donald. L175 was found in me long ago. And there are only like 6 of us that test positive for it, and half of them are Wilsons. The Wilsons, again, in North Carolina, suspicion. From the family suspicions. But anyway, we don't know what group we are. This group here, CLD25, we don't know what they are. There are other people in this group, but we have family suspicions, merely suspicions. These are not strong traditions, but they're Clan Donald South. Then we have these 3 people over here who know this person is Tullen Kepler. I mean, well, it goes Kepler Bohunton Tullen. We know what he is because he's got a paper trail. So this is certainly Kepler, or some of these are Kepler. And these again we don't know. But anyway, and these people are. I can't read. These people are not Lord John descendants. They're in between Summerlin and Lord John descendants. YP55. So that's the story of these. These tests exist because you have to be an R1A of the right kind to be interested. But I should add, the question is, can we get more markers that will distinguish more? And the answer is no. Unfortunately, this is really really all there is. The way the tests work are such that you get a few people to test and you can just know that there aren't any more markers out there. So we can find out what these are. Of course, we can find markers that are farther down in time, but we're not going to find any markers that delineate, or we can find markers that delineate smaller clan groups, but we're not going to find any markers that are up above here.
So we can basically determine Kevin, Slate, Glengarry, and Clan Rabbit.
No, and in the future, we might be able to distinguish more lower down and figure out what these unknowns are. Eventually, we'll do that, but that doesn't require DNA testing. That requires genealogical research by the people involved.
Right.
Somebody comes out of the woodwork with a paper trail.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we need, is somebody from the woodwork with a paper trail.
Family Bible hidden someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Let me say a few more. I've got a few more minutes. You asked about females. Everybody. The female-only DNA has not proven terribly useful. It exists, and it's of a variable utility. There are only 16,525 markers on the female-only DNA, which means that there's a very limited set of haplotypes. Some of these haplotypes have 10 million people, women, well, 10 million everybody, in them, and so they're not very useful. There are other haplotypes, haplogroups, such as the one that I'm in. I'm in a haplogroup of which the next to lowest level has about 10 known people. And the lowest level has me. I should add that there is a large group of creatures that also share the unique marker that I have. These include such creatures as, notice I didn't say people, gorillas, chickens, beavers, trout.
What haplogroup is that?
And it's not a haplogroup, it's just a marker.
Oh.
And brewer's yeast.
Of course.
That's the Irish.
When you go looking down the female. And of course, I'm classic. My mother came from northeastern Germany. So I go immediately out of the clan. Do not pass.
But not chimpanzees. Okay, so it's not of great utility, and it's expensive. I don't recommend it. I should say something about the Y chromosome test. Have any of you taken the autosomal tests, such as 23andMe or Ancestry.com, but not the Y chromosome test? Have you taken the Y chromosome test?
I don't think so.
But you have taken that one.
Yeah.
In some cases, if you have taken these autosomal tests from Family Tree DNA called Family Finder, 23andMe, or Ancestry.com, I can determine your Y chromosome haplogroup. So email me your data, and I'll go through it. It has to be done on an individual person-by-person case, but I'll do it.
Can I ask this quick follow-up question? So my father's done his DNA, and I get Donald through his mother's line for like 3 generations back before it goes back to Neil. If he sent you his,
This is the autosomal DNA. Now,
I have to check with him. I think he did it both.
Well, for the Y chromosome, it won't work because you're going to pick up his mother's DNA rather than his father's DNA.
no, you have autosomes here.
No, but she said that there were 2 different kinds of tests that he did.
I'm not sure. I have to clarify.
Right.
I think he did.
Right.
Contact me.
In the Y chromosome thing, that doesn't work because we can only do paternal. And so as soon as you go maternal, you're testing the father rather than the mother.
The autosomal DNA has not proven yet to be terribly useful for us, but you know, how many of you taken the autosomal tests? Quite a few.
But I'm very confident you can come up with something.
No, I'm not.
I am confident.
I mean, I can, if you send me your data, I can give you much better ethnic estimates if you're not.
Well, that I know.
Yeah, but it's not impossible in the future with lots more people testing to do it. But as far
So
as
keep
genealogy,
that out there on the horizon.
but as far as genealogy goes, I highly recommend that you send your, unless you're paranoid about medical issues, send your DNA, send both your DNA and your genealogy file to something called jedmatch.com. I don't know. Yeah, you really should do that, because without that, you're stuck with a single company, and they all have their predilections that stop them from being as useful as they could.
Well, then one other, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question. We're suspecting that maybe Jim was from somewhere down south. So what were these Southern McDonald's you mentioned? Who were they?
Oh, they're just Court, Clan Donald. No,
Southern Scotland.
There's no significant difference between the southern U.S. McDonald's and the Canadian McDonald's.
No, I'm talking
No,
Southern
she's
Scotland.
talking Southern Scotland. That would be the Dunaveg and the Glens branch, which controlled basically Antrim and the area
Is that-
of Isla, Kintyre, and
Yeah,
whatever.
Kintyre.
Is that Clan Donald Sound?
That's Clan Donald.
Yeah, again, CLD 25.
What is it?
CLD 25.
Got it.
If you want to find out, $16 at yseq.net.
Yes, go ahead.
I came in late on this, I got in conversation with John F. So,
I understand.
I got involved in a conversation with John F., so I got here late. Do you have, by chance, a business card that would have information contacting you? I'm waiting for results from
To
Nancy.
contact me, go to the Clan Donald USA.com website, DNA project, and my email address is there. It's JD James Douglas, JDMCDONA, no LD, DONA, at illinois.edu. But it's there.
That's what happens if you get a retired professor.
Yeah, you get to keep the EDU forever. And free access to every academic journal. Okay?
Yeah, okay, I think we're pretty well done. Any other questions?